Okay, class. Welcome to your first online lecture. Um, okay, let's begin by going over some updates. So, Paul Tribble has announced that CNU will be closed for the remainder of semester, as I'm sure all of you guys know, and that all courses are to be taught online starting this week. I hope that over the past few days or upcoming days, you all have had the opportunity to visit campus and to collect your belongings and to go home to an early summer. Now, graduation, this is more for my other classes. I don't know how many of y'all are going to be walking. Most of the classes freshmen, but there are a few juniors and seniors in here. Graduation is delayed until June 21st. In addition, the pass-fail option is extended to 2 additional courses, even courses within your major, and the deadline to pass-fail or to withdraw a class has been extended to April 10th at 5 p.m. Um, Now, if you are considering pass-failing or withdrawing from the class, um, I want you to talk with me, come speak with me, come to online office hours, and just let's talk about it then. Okay. Obviously, this is up to you, but I just want to get a sense of sort of where you are in the class before you make that decision. Okay. Now, um, speaking of these online office hours, they're going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 1 to 3. The link is going to be posted on Top Hat. This is going to be through Google Hangouts or Google Meeting. So please come with any questions you have about the assignments or the class, just like with regular office hours. Okay. And despite all of the distractions and all of the changes that have been happening in the country as of late, my message to you is that life goes on. I mean, right now we're in the middle of it, we're in the thick of it. But come a number of weeks, a number of months, this whole thing will be in the rear view mirror, and and that's going to be how it is. And so, you don't want to let, this moment sort of distract you from from your purpose of why you are at CNU and why you are a student. Okay. So life goes on and so does the class. That's kind of the bottom line. I expect all of you to continue participating in the class as you've done throughout the semester up to the current time. Okay. So then without further ado, let's jump to this next unit. We're going to be starting a new unit starting this week. Um, and I told you guys at the beginning of the class, this is a slide from one of the earlier lectures, that microeconomics consists of 3 very different subfields. Okay? Classical microeconomics is what we've been discussing in the class so far. Which is a sort of like a theoretical or mathematical way of studying the economy's building blocks: suppliers, demand, firms, markets. The new microeconomics, which is the focus of this unit, is in many ways a rebellion against the classical models or ideas. Um, you see, in the 20th century, economists began to develop new tools for understanding the behavior of all of these constituents. And this new micro, it expands on, it improves, and in some cases, it even attempts to overthrow the old theory. So now, you guys will recall that I presented you with sort of these 5 pillars of microeconomics. And I told you that microeconomics is based often on one of these 5 central ideas. And these ideas included rational choice and opportunity cost, incentives. Okay, it was this this sort of very standard way of looking at things. But the new microeconomics is quite different. And if I were to identify three themes that unify the topics we are about to discuss, the sort of three pillars of the new microeconomics, they are these: uncertainty, irrationality, and strategic interaction. So, so let me try to give you an example of these in the context of a poker game. Okay, so imagine, you go to Las Vegas and you're playing a game of high stakes poker with your friends. Maybe you play at a game with a buy-in of $100. Okay, now obviously for a pro poker player that might not be a lot, but I think for any of us, putting $100 on the line in a game of poker, that seems like a pretty high stakes situation. Playing with your friends, that's kind of like a high stakes situation too. It's like you're competing with your friends for all of this real money. So picture yourself in that situation, okay, and consider how it has elements of these three things that I just described. So first of all, obviously there's uncertainty. Okay? Players have limited information about the state of the game. You don't know what the other person has, what kind of hand they have. You don't know what card will be the next one flipped over in the deck. Some people at the table might not really even know how to play poker. But do you know that they know how to play poker or not? Furthermore, we know that when people gamble or play games in general, that they don't always make the best possible move. A bad loss, for example, might cause one of your opponents to go on tilt and make very risky or uncharacteristically aggressive bets. But as economists such as Daniel Kahneman, who is one of the founders of behavioral economics, we'll talk about that in a few lectures, as many economists realize, just because behavior is irrational does not necessarily mean it's unpredictable. Finally, poker is a game all about the strategic interaction of the different players at the table. Players will bluff, they'll straddle, they'll slow play. Okay, all of these poker terms, these poker strategies, they have to do with basically, trying to fool or manipulate the other players at the table. It's all about sort of that dynamic of interaction between the players. To succeed, you have to know how your opponent is playing, be able to read your opponent, perhaps through the way that he's betting. But of course, at the same time, your opponents are also trying to read you. Okay? So I want you to sort of picture that kind of interaction or that kind of environment. Okay? That is very much a metaphor for the types of situations that the new micro is capable of understanding. Okay. So in particular, we're going to discuss three topics within the new micro. The first is game theory. The second is decision-making under uncertainty. We'll do a couple of lectures on that. And the final one is behavioral economics. Now, you may be unfamiliar with these topics. My bet is that even if you took economics in high school, perhaps you have not had a class on any of these particular topics before. But I assure you they're quite interesting. And my goal, rather than delving into the details of any particular topic here, is to just give you a tour, give you a sense of what each one of these things is and how they contribute to economics as a whole. Okay? Okay. So actually, I think that is going to be the end of part 1, and I'll see you guys back for part 2.